Good morning, mushrooms, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers, sisters, mothers, misters, and to all my cousins. It's time to plug in and get this train a-chugging. We got a little tit for tat between the US and China with consulate closures. The US forced them to close their consulate in Houston, even though the person was being held in San Francisco. And, well, now a little, as we said, tit for tat. The Chinese have forced a closure of the US consulate in Chengdu in retaliation for. Yes, somebody does something and then you retaliate against them for having done that, usually with a token gesture of the same severity or intensity. Yes, the consulate officially closes as Chinese authorities say that they have taken control of the premises. The premises is just the piece of property, the building, the land upon which the consulate sits. Often we just use that for a fancy word for the building, the location. But yes, they have taken control of it. They are now in control of it. I can imagine that there was a flurry of activity as they're trying to shut things down and eliminate any sensitive information that may have existed within said consulate. Let's switch it up to the always headlines, Trump and the coronavirus. And, well, his team is dodging virus blame while jobless benefit cuts loom. Whew. There have been jobless benefits here because a lot of people are out of work and unemployed due to the COVID situation. Either they've been fired, they've been forced to resign, or they've just been laid off and or furloughed because of, well, the economic situations. And the government, of course, has been giving some payments to help people so they don't lose their home, they can feed their children, and so on. Well, those benefits are about to be cut. The cuts are looming on the horizon. Remember, if something is looming, it's big and scary and threatening and it's foreboding. It's over there on the horizon. It's coming your way. It's quite intimidating. Something is looming on the horizon. Often with horizon, yeah. It's big and it's scary and it's coming your direction. It's threatening. It's foreboding. It's, scary. And so these cuts are looming on the horizon. And, well, the Trump's team is dodging the blame. So to dodge, if somebody throws something at you and you like that and you move out of the way, like Keanu Reeves in The Matrix dodging bullets, right? You are moving out of the way so that it does not hit or affect you. And so that's also the name of a brand of automobiles. True, because it implies being nimble and agile, quick on your feet and able to do whatever. Because, well, nobody wants to take the blame or be blamed for something, and people often try and shift the blame onto other people. Then those people who are nimble and agile like a kitty cat, they are able to dodge the blame, to avoid it, to evade it, to escape it. All right, let's move on. We got the urge and the surge. I think that's why the writers put these two together, but they are words that they use very often here in the headlines. To urge somebody is to persistently try to persuade them to do it. Like, come on, you really ought to do this. Do it, do it, do it, do it. Obviously, as we know, I mean, we've been seeing this for months and months now, and it just means to close the doors, cease activity, stop functioning, right? Because the deaths are surging, the virus is running rampant and out of control. The deaths are surging, so they say, we need another shutdown here to try and slow, if not stop, the spread of said virus. I mean, that's nothing new for you guys, just a little review. And so let's move on. Ooh. They offer insight into the transatlantic slave trade. Actually quite interesting. I read something about it. Well, I mean, it's about a tragic, tragic piece of our history. But to offer insight into, it's just a nice little three-word collocation that we see. Well, these two are collocation. That's just a dependent preposition. But to give or offer insight into its new information, so that way you're better able to understand something, because, well, sight, the noun from being able to see, right? That's one of our five senses. Sight, if you're able to see something, you're better able to understand it. And so insight is like you're looking into it and therefore better able to understand or comprehend a situation. The new data has come out giving us additional insight into how and why the virus is spreading so rampantly across the US. Yes, that is the second time I've used the word rampant. It's not in any of the pink, but it's just some good vocabulary, meaning out of control. Often collocates with run rampant. Okay, moving on. Now, with like, everyone like, and the better way of saying that is as if or as though. However, then we've got other variations on the word. We've got likely, which means probable, or likelihood, which means probability. Well, here we have likeness, and that stop using Reagan's likeness in Trump's fundraising pitch. Now, the likeness means actually a picture or images of the person that look like them. Stop using somebody's likeness means stop using pictures of them. Well, we've had pitch meaning tar or bitumen in the term pitch black, but this is different pitch. This is like in baseball, the guy throws the pitcher, throws the ball, and then the batter tries to hit it. And so we use this in business very often, meaning because you're throwing your ideas out there, usually in a way to try and get support, get attention, or get funding for your ideas. You hear very often about the 30-second elevator pitch, where you could explain who you are and what you do to somebody else while you're in an elevator. And you hear about pitch decks, which is the deck of cards, much like playing cards for poker and blackjack. However, they're talking about PowerPoint slides typically, and that's the number of slides that to present your company, what you do, and any other information you might have in order to persuade investors to then invest in your company. Yeah, your pitch deck will give them insight into who you are and what you do. Yeah, recycle that. All right, Hong Kong's NASDAQ likes tech index because the NASDAQ is focused more on technology. It's a younger of the stock exchanges. You've got the New York Stock Exchange, which was the first one, and it has all the older companies. The NASDAQ was formed, and it was focused primarily on technologies. Hong Kong has recently set up a similar tech index, and it had a volatile first day of trading. That means it was up and down, unexpected, and explosive. We have volatile as a word used for people's personalities, but especially for like chemical compounds. If things are combustible, they will burn or explode very easily. We'd say that they're volatile. They are not stable. Yeah? Yes, the trading was not stable, but on the first day, that's to be expected. Things will go up, and then people try to take their profits, so they sell it off, and I'm sure it was some pretty wild ups and downs on the first day of trading there. I imagine that trading will stabilize both in terms of volume and prices as investors really kind of figure out where they stand on the value of many of these stocks and the viability of the market itself. Yeah, all right, cool. On to some football news, I guess. Man U and Chelsea have sealed Champions League spots. I don't know, I missed that one. But to seal it, much like we've had on the show before with an envelope, you lick the envelope and then you seal it closed. And so once it's closed, it is a done deal. And so they have officially obtained their spots in the Champions League. They have sealed the deal. A common collocation, meaning it's now official. But Leicester misses out. They failed to secure a spot in the Champions League by losing or not earning enough points or whatever, however that works. And so to miss out on something means that you're unable to participate in it and therefore not experience all of the wonderful things that go along with it. Just like if you have to stay home ill and you can't go to a party, you miss out on all of the fun that was had recently, the last few years. The acronym FOMO, and that's the fear of missing out. And so people will often overextend themselves and they're doing too much because they don't want to miss out on anything. They don't want to miss a single moment. On to some nature news, or the intersection of humans and nature. A huge black bear was spotted relaxing in a pool. So a nice reduced passive. It was spotted by somebody, was seen by somebody. And so yes, we have bird spotters and train spotters And to spot means to look for and see something. Much like if I had spilled toothpaste on my shirt, I would have a spot here. It's easy to see. It catches your attention. Thankfully, no toothpaste on my t-shirt today. So it was spotted relaxing in a pool. That's something interesting. I imagine you get up and you go downstairs all bleary-eyed, pour yourself a cup of coffee and look into the backyard and you see a massive bear just lounging in the pool, splashing around. That would be a shocker. Okay, a new Netflix series is causing a stir. It's not causing unrest. It's not really shaking things up and making people angry or anything like that, but it's causing a stir. It's still, if you stir up the water, there's still some turbulence. Some things are moving around, and so it's a nice metaphor for not really causing people to be angry, but it is causing a disruption enough that people are talking about it. And so to cause a stir, it could be for good reasons or bad reasons, but at the same time, remember, like they say, all publicity is good publicity. And so at least they're getting people talking about them. It's better than being ignored. Yeah. Okay. Here we got another word that has turned up on the program multiple times in the last 2 weeks. To collide. When two things come together, their paths intersect into a violent collision. A crash. Basically, to crash into something else. And so, extreme heat and COVID-19, dun, 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 and they're going to intersect and collide, and they fear that that will be a dangerous recipe for disaster. Yeah, because we have had on the show countless times a recipe for disaster, recipe for success, recipe for failure. It just means the appropriate ingredients, and then they come together to make a delicious meal or a tragic situation. I just like this. Deodorant sales are down. Deodorant sales have fallen because social distancing. People aren't as close to each other, so they're not too worried about how they smell. However, ice cream sales are up with people at home, so deodorant sales have fallen, and ice cream sales have risen because people at home are depressed, I guess, and they're trying to lift their moods by binge eating Ben & Jerry's or other ice cream. I don't know, but yes, ice cream sales have shot up and deodorant sales have fallen. All right. So Roger Ailes was the former boss of Fox News, but then he was forced to leave his job as a result of sexual harassment or misbehavior in the office, in the workplace, and so he was ousted. Just another word for being pushed out. Either you're fired, you're let go, you're forced to resign, etc. We use this with politicians, with executives, etc. to oust somebody, and usually use in the passive. Somebody was ousted for misconduct, let's just say. Could be any number of reasons, really. Just like in the past, we couldn't keep toilet paper on the shelves. It was selling so fast. The demand is so high that dealers can't keep them on the shelves. It's just a common construction that we use in English all the time. So, adjective, that, and then some sort of result after it. Yeah? It is so hot that I am sweating here at 8:48 in the morning. Okay, enough about that. Let's move on. He was the one who supposedly called Ocasio-Cortez on the steps of the federal building or of the Capitol or something. I'm not sure exactly where the incident took place. However, yes, some Christian organization is upset with the way that he's treating women, and they have forced him to resign from his position on the board of this Christian organization. Yeah, he's the one that we had it last week. He was making sort of half apologies or sort of non-apologies, and then she was talking back, and it's been a back and forth. However, most good Christians would agree that you shouldn't refer to women using such derogatory language. All right, not much can be done. We're just going to hit this last headline and call it a day and get this week rolling, yeah? And so LeBron James has created a voting rights group. However, Florida recently overturned that precedent, and said that once people have served their time in prison and then have subsequently been released, they should reinstate the voting rights of that individual because, well, I mean, they paid their penalty to society by serving time in prison and supposedly should be rehabilitated, and so they should be reinstated into the role of a normal citizen and be able to vote again. However, Republicans are trying to limit their ability to do that because, well, most of them will probably vote for the Democrats. And so they're trying to limit that by saying if you have unpaid fines or fees or any other sort of infractions since you have been released from prison, then it will negate your ability to vote. And so his voting rights group is helping these ex-felons who owe fines and fees. And so they're helping them pay off their fines and their fees, maybe through loans or something like that. And so that way then they are still able to register to vote. And they'll be eligible to vote in the next upcoming election, which, if you're paying attention, we're only 100 days away from the next election in the United States. And so it's going to be a rocky ride because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. Protests have continued and intensified in Portland and other cities around the United States, with federal officers beating moms and dads who are just trying to support the protesters. They're not crazy anarchists. They're just normal people protecting their free speech and right to assembly, etc. Sure, damage is being done, and damage has been done. However, as many people would argue, I am of the persuasion that sending in unidentifiable military people to just grab people off the streets, put them into unmarked vans, and use extreme violence against these protesters is not the way to address the situation. And so, shame on you. But so to everybody out there for English otherwise, my name is Mr. James. If you've tuned in this far or this long or this often, you know that you can call me Cameron. This has been Breaking Down the News. I hope you have a beautiful start to your week, and if not sooner, I will see you at 8 a.m. tomorrow. I'll make sure that I'm on time and all the glitches and hitches have been ironed out and we're ready to rock and roll. And so, yep, happy Monday, everybody. See you later. Bye-bye. Stop the stream.